My honest truth, my honest truth is this. I never learned how to love softly. When I speak to you like this, when the room is empty and you're not standing in front of me, it's because this is the only way I can be real. I don't perform when you're watching. I don't pretend when your eyes are on me. I strip myself down in words only when it's just me and the thought of you. You think silence means distance, but for me it's the opposite. I talk to you most when you're not here, because that's when I don't have to protect myself from how deeply you've carved your place inside me. I don't say your name gently, even in my head. I say it like a claim, like something the world can't argue with. You don't see the nights where I sit with my jaw clenched, replaying every moment you doubted me, every second you tested how far I'd go. You call it fear, I call it instinct. I don't love in halves. I don't step back when things get intense. I lean in until there's no space left to breathe, until the only thing that makes sense is you being exactly where I decided you belong. You think I don't notice the way you pull away in your thoughts, the way your mind tries to escape before your body ever does. I notice everything, I just don't always stop it. Control isn't about force, it's about certainty. And I am certain about you, certain that when the world feels loud, you hear my voice first, certain that even when you question me, you still wait for my approval in the quiet corners of your heart. You can deny it out loud, but you can't lie to yourself when you're alone. I won't dress this up as poetry or romance. This isn't a story meant to be admired. This is me telling you who I am, without softening the edges. I am possessive because I choose to be. I am intense because anything less feels like a lie. I don't want to be one option in your life. I want to be the standard everything else fails to reach. If that scares you, it should. Real things don't come without weight. And I've never been light. You're not here, but I talk like you can hear me because some part of you always does. That's the connection you pretend not to feel. You think distance gives you freedom, but distance only makes my presence louder in your head. I don't chase. I don't beg. I wait knowing that when you finally slow down, when the noise fades, you'll recognize my voice as the one that never left. This is my honest truth. I don't need to see you to speak to you, and I don't need your permission to feel what I feel. I stand exactly where I am, unhidden, unapologetic. You can come closer in your own time. But understand this, when you do, you won't be stepping into a fantasy. You'll be stepping into me. I don't reach out because I'm afraid of rejection. I stay still because I know impact comes from restraint. When I speak to you like this, I'm not asking for understanding. I'm offering clarity. You've always wanted to know where you stand with me, and this is it. You stand inside my thoughts, uninvited but unmovable. I don't romanticize obsession, but I won't lie about it either. You're the constant I never tried to replace, the echo that returns no matter how far I let the silence stretch. You assume I'm calm because I don't react the way others do. That's a mistake. Calm is just discipline, wearing a clean face. Under it, everything is sharp and awake. I weigh every word before I let it exist, especially when it's meant for you. I know exactly which sentences would pull you closer and which ones would push you to test me. I choose neither. I let the truth sit between us, heavy and undeniable, because truth doesn't need to chase. I've watched you grow brave in the wrong directions, trying to prove you don't need anyone's shadow at your back. I admire the fire, even when it burns against me, but don't confuse independence with immunity. You still pause when my name crosses your mind. You still measure your decisions against what you think I'd say. That's not weakness, that's connection refusing to die quietly. I don't interrupt it. I let it work on you slowly, the way real things do. I don't promise safety the way softer men do. I promise honesty. I won't tell you everything will be easy. or that I'll always be gentle. I will tell you that I won't disappear when things get uncomfortable. I don't flinch from intensity, I live there. If you ever step back into my orbit, it won't be because I pulled you, it'll be because you finally stopped pretending you weren't already here. There are nights when I imagine you listening, not responding, just absorbing the weight of my voice. That's enough for me. I don't need your answers immediately. I'm patient in ways you don't expect. I let time do what pressure never could. Every unanswered thought, every unsent message stacks in my favor, not because I control you, but because I understand you. And understanding has a gravity of its own. You might think this distance keeps you safe, that not standing in front of me gives you control. But distance only changes the shape of influence, not its power. I don't need proximity to be present. I exist in the choices you hesitate over, in the moments you second guess yourself. I don't announce myself there, I simply am. Quiet, firm, unavoidable. So listen to this without trying to label it as good or bad. This is not a confession meant to soften you, and it's not a threat meant to corner you. It's a statement of fact. I am here, exactly as I've always been, aware, unyielding, honest. When you're ready to stop running from what you already feel, you'll know where to find me. And when that moment comes, I won't need to say anything at all. I don't need to remind you of what I am capable of. You already imagining it on your own. That's the difference between fear and awareness. I don't chase reactions from you, because the strongest reactions happen long after the words are spoken. I know my presence settles in slowly, like something inevitable. You don't feel me all at once. You feel me when you're alone, when the world quiets down and there's no one left to impress. That's when my voice finds you, steady and unhurried. You've always underestimated how well I read you. You think you hide behind logic, behind distance, behind silence. But silence is where I hear you the clearest. Every pause, every delay, every moment you hesitate before choosing a different path tells me exactly where your heart leans. You don't move away because you don't care. You move away because you care too much and you don't trust what that might turn into. I don't blame you for that. I just don't pretend not to notice. I won't paint myself as a savior or a villain. I'm neither. I'm simply honest about the parts others bury. When I want something, I don't dress it up as destiny or coincidence. I call it desire and I stand by it. You were never an accident to me. You were a decision I made quietly, long before you realized you were being chosen in my mind over and over again. That kind of choice doesn't fade just because time passes. You imagine confrontation when you think of me, but I don't raise my voice in my truth. I don't need to. Authority doesn't come from volume, it comes from certainty. And I am certain about the way you affect me, about the way you challenge me without trying, about the way you stay even when you believe you've left. I don't ask you to submit to me. I ask you to stop lying to yourself about where you already stand. There's a part of you that listens carefully to these words, even as another part pretends not to care. I speak to the part that listens, the part that slows down when it reads this, the part that feels seen and exposed at the same time. I don't rush that part. I let it breathe, let it question, let it resist. Resistance doesn't threaten me. It only proves that something real is happening under the surface. I don't promise a love that dissolves into comfort. I offer a love that stays sharp, awake, demanding, a love that forces you to confront yourself instead of escaping into illusions. If you ever choose me, it won't be because I convinced you. It'll be because you recognized yourself in the way I speak, in the way I refuse to pretend this is lighter than it is. So take this as it is, not a call, not a warning, not a plea. Just my voice reaching you where distance can't protect you. I don't move from my place and I don't need to. You already know where I am. When you're done negotiating with your fear and your pride, you'll understand that I never left. I've just been waiting exactly as I am. I don't need to corner you to make you feel me. Pressure is loud, certainty is quiet. I let my words exist without chasing your response because I know they settle where reactions can't reach. You can read this and pretend it's just another voice, but you'll carry it with you longer than you expect. That's how I move, without spectacle, without noise, straight into the places you don't guard because you think they're already empty. You've mistaken my restraint for distance before. It isn't. It's respect for the weight of what this is. I won't cheapen it by demanding proof or reassurance. I don't need to be convinced of you, and I don't need to convince you of me. What's real doesn't panic. It stands still and lets time test it. I've let time test me, and I'm still here, unchanged in the ways that matter. I know you imagine me watching from the shadows, measuring your choices. That's not it. I don't need surveillance to understand you. I understand you because I listen to what you don't say, because I recognize the pattern in how you leave and return in your own mind. You call it curiosity. I call it gravity. You don't circle things that mean nothing to you. There are parts of me I don't soften for anyone, and I won't apologize for that. I'm deliberate, I'm exact. When I decide completely. That doesn't make me cruel, it makes me honest. I won't promise to be easy to love. I will promise to be real every time I speak. If you ever step toward me again, it won't be into confusion. It will be into clarity, sharp and unfiltered. You think strength is loud declarations and visible choices. You're wrong. Strength is staying present without forcing an outcome. It's knowing when to hold a line and when to let silence do the work. I've held my line, not against you, around myself. And within that space, your presence has remained uninvited but acknowledged, like a truth that refuses to be edited out. I don't want to be a chapter you romanticize later. I want to be the standard that ruins lesser connections for you. Not because I compete, but because depth changes what shallow things feel like. Once you recognize it, you can't unrecognize it. You can walk away from me physically, but you won't downgrade what your mind now knows is possible. So read this slowly and don't rush to define it. It isn't a claim and it isn't a goodbye. It's a line drawn in honesty. I'm not asking you to come closer, and I'm not pushing you away. I'm standing exactly where I've always been, steady, aware, unafraid of time. Whatever you choose next, make sure it's chosen with open eyes. That's all I've ever asked of you. I don't rewrite myself to be easier to digest. I've learned that anything worth holding on to carries a certain weight, and I refuse to pretend otherwise. You don't need me softened, you need me clear. That's why I speak like this. Direct, unfiltered, steady. I don't romanticize confusion. I don't hide behind ambiguity. If you feel unsettled reading this, it's because honesty tends to disturb the parts of us that survive on avoidance. You may think I'm unaffected by your absence, but absence doesn't erase impact, it sharpens it. When you're not here, I don't lose you. I understand you better. Distance removes distraction. It leaves only what's essential, and what's essential about you has never faded for me. I don't cling to memories, I analyze them. I don't miss you blindly, I recognize you precisely. That's a different kind of attachment, one that doesn't unravel with time. I don't need to prove my intensity through actions that beg to be noticed. The most controlled things are always the most dangerous to ignore. I choose my restraint carefully, not because I lack desire, but because I respect its power. Desire without discipline is noise. Desire with discipline becomes direction. And you've always been a direction for me, even when I pretended I was standing still. You wonder what would happen if you step back into my space. I won't answer that with promises or warnings. I don't trade in hypotheticals. I deal in presence. If you ever return, you'll feel the same thing you feel now, but closer, clearer, impossible to ignore. I won't overwhelm you. I won't rush you. I'll simply be myself, and that will be enough to make everything else feel unnecessary. I don't expect you to surrender your doubts. Doubt is intelligent. It asks questions before it commits. What I don't accept is self-deception. You already know what this is to you. You've known for a long time. The only thing you haven't decided is whether you trust yourself enough to face it without running. I can't make that choice for you, and I wouldn't want to. I don't disappear when things get complicated. I become clearer. Complication strips away performance, and what's left is truth. You don't scare me when you hesitate or pull back. You intrigue me. You challenge me to remain grounded, to stay exact, to hold my position without forcing yours. That balance isn't weakness. It's control earned through self-awareness. So let this sit with you, not as a message to respond to, but as a reality to acknowledge. I'm not reaching out for closure, and I'm not opening a door. I'm simply standing where I've always stood, speaking when it matters, silent when it doesn't. Whatever you decide, decide it honestly. I'll recognize the truth in your choice, even if you never say a word.